Welcome back everyone, and I hope you are ready and raring to go for the afternoon. Before we get back to the plenary stage, allow me to introduce our second studio expert of the day, Dorthe Keilberg. Welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me today.
How are you feeling today?
I'm so excited. I mean, it's so great to connect with everybody who's coming year after year and all our new guests.
Absolutely. And I am really pleased to say we are joined in the studio today by Deloitte's Future of Work leader, Ryan Hopkins. Welcome to the studio.
Deloitte Hopkins, I don't know. Thank you for having me.
I was about to say Deloitte's leader, Ryan Hopkins, so maybe that will be what I introduce you as next.
Yeah, potentially.
So I assume you had a wonderful breakout session.
Yeah, it was really great. Some great conversation, talking about what the future of wellbeing looks like and lots of challenge, which I like, and we're really getting into it.
Yeah, I mean, I've got one question for you. So, I mean, the world of shared services is very performance driven.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is well-being something that can really be quantified and measured?
Well, right now it isn't being, but I think personally, well, it's a giveaway, you're going to expect this. I think it definitely should be. So 1 to 2% of companies we found out in the UK are currently measuring the effectiveness of their efforts using organisational data such as attrition, absenteeism, stuff like that. So what we're working on currently is a set of smart assumptions and often survey data, which, as you know, ages horribly, right? Because what was working last December isn't necessarily right now, is it? So we need to shift that approach. And when we think about well-being, we often talk about the upside, the happy, the positive, because that's where we want to take it. However, I think we flip the dial. I'm not an inherently negative person, but if we look at the downside and what we're currently losing with regards to a cost base, in attrition due to preventable mental health issues, absenteeism, presenteeism, the quiet quitting masses, as Gallup just shared, only 23% of the workforce are engaged. We start to understand the current cost, and we focus on reducing that cost base. That gives us the opportunity to pilot, iterate, and do things in a more proactive fashion. But I think hopefully we'll get into that in a second.
That's an interesting shift, isn't it? Because we have for years and years done a lot in terms of fruit baskets and yoga classes. And it sounds like it's turning this soft focus into more hard matters. What's like the key focus of well-being these days?
Good consultant answer. It depends, but we've been on awareness for a long time to reduce the stigma in the workplace, and I think that will continue to remain and absolutely should. But to start to change the issues, and things are moving in the wrong direction from a mental health perspective in the UK and broader in Europe as well and across the world. So to start to address things, we need to move from reactive approaches, from waiting until something is broken or an individual is suffering to step in. Here's an issue, here's an app, here's a webinar. But instead, when we start to look at what the needs, interests, concerns, expectations and risks are, we like to call it the NICER, because you know we love a good acronym, right?
The framework.
Yeah, exactly. So when we start to look at the NICER and what the different demographics actually need within the workplace, instead of working off of assumptions and taking a quantified approach, we'll see what starts to have a big impact. And we've seen some companies doing amazing things in this space. I think the future of well-being, we started with often someone doing it side of desk because they care. I've been that person, it's evolved into this role now. And with all the best well intent in the world, they have zero scope to make an impact or change the things that are causing the stress. Where we're moving now is towards a cross-functional approach, using different parts of the business, because how many meetings do you normally have each day?
Too many. Yeah.
So many, right?
Like
today, how was like the first day? And it's like memory. I don't have a meeting. I feel so lost. I feel like my legs twitching with like my phone going off. But we're going to move to a place where we have a cross-functional approach, and we're treating well-being with the respect we would another function. And so you would never go to sales and say, what are the quarterly numbers? And they go, not really sure, Ryan. We're not actually measuring this month, or we're not looking into it, or we haven't done that work. So we're going to move that forwards, and that's the difference in wellbeing 1.0 and 2.0, and I think the journey a lot of companies are going on.
So what's your view on, can we continue fixing well-being with initiatives, or are we looking at a more structural solution, or is it a culture shift? What are we moving into?
Of course, it depends. But you know, culture eats strategy for breakfast, that famous saying. And with the best policy in the world, I've seen it time and time again, as we have with unlimited leave with a few companies who roll that out, but they don't have the culture, or the behaviours to actually make something work. So we actually need to make sure that that happens in conjunction. So it's a combo. In the largest wellbeing study ever carried out by Indeed, 18 million individuals, fascinating. They asked what they thought the drivers of wellbeing are, and everyone's like, show me the money, right? I just want more, I want more money. But what they actually found was that number one was energy, and two was belonging, that culture piece. If you feel you can turn up and be yourself and bring the things that you have in your personal life there, that you don't have to wear a mask when you're at work, you are going to perform better. And we see it time and time again now with the work that Oxford is doing, and we are trying to do in this space to prove the link between a positive, subjective well-being culture essentially and performance, stock market performance, company and other. And that work is really, really moving on now.
Okay, and a lot is being said about those topics in relation to purpose. So is there a proven relation between working with purpose and your well-being?
Prue, that one's tougher because again that's very subjective, but I think it's Nietzsche who said, he who has a why can deal with any how, and it's like one of my favourite quotes. And people who are purpose-led are able to put more in because they feel like they're able to get something out of it. A lot of work is increasingly transactional. We plug in like interfaces on machines, beep, boop, zeep, more, and like trying to like grind out widgets, and it's a recipe for unhappiness because there's a lack of connection. We're not interfaces on machines. We need that. The C's, we need let me start that again.
Yeah.
We need connection, creativity, exactly. Connection, creativity. You need that coaching, that collaboration, the things you come together for. And in an increasingly digital world, there is a lack of that. So that's something that a lot of companies are leaning into at the moment. And that's the hybrid paradox, that people want more flexibility and they want more in-person connection at the same time. And it's almost one of the challenges of our times, especially for our clients at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And all the technology, you talk about meetings, and without testing it, we know that many of those meetings are online meetings today.
Of course.
And you can't help thinking, what's the relation between the use of technology and your well-being? I mean, you did mention in your breakout that the fact that we're always on, the digital boundaries are very blurred. What's the impact of, like, we have all the joy of technology, but is there a flip side of that?
Definitely. FaceTime isn't FaceTime, and we need to create space for the moments that matter. So I think tech is the issue for a lot of us, but it can also be the solution. If you auto-schedule your meetings to finish 5-10 minutes early, I love this, I roll this one out all the time. How much time do you think you save if you have 6 meetings? You heard it already, so no cheating.
I'm not going to say anything.
No, you'll save 4.8 work weeks worth of effort per year. And it's those little moments in between the meetings, what you need as an individual, so what you need, Khalyani, it's different to me. And what we do in the wellbeing place, because we care so much, is we want to fix people and help them. We look at an individual. Instead, we need to move to looking at the stress of the problem rather than addressing the symptoms of it, which is tiredness, lack of connection. So we think, how can we configure an organisation for success? And there are pockets of that everywhere. And some companies are doing some great work in this space, but not as many as hopefully we're going to continue to see.
But can you give us a good example of a company that's doing different?
You know I can.
Bring it to us.
So I think Shopify have done something incredible, and I think I tip my proverbial cap to them. I think it's fantastic. They've had a piece of functionality to the Google Suite. So now when you set up a meeting, you can see what the cost of the meeting is with the attendance, with the average salary band, which is pulled through from the HR system. So we're about to set a meeting up with a couple of execs. This meeting will cost you $5,000 for 25 minutes. Could this be an email? And because of this work, they're expecting to cut 474,000 meetings this year, giving people the opportunity to do the work they're employed to do. A meeting isn't work. We've conflated being busy and being productive, and they're two diametrically different things. So what we do is give people space to do their work and to prioritise what they need to be their best selves. And when we do that, we will see businesses and individuals that thrive. And BT did a really cool long-term study with Oxford over 2 years, and they found that a 1-point increase in subjective happiness resulted in a 13% increase in sales in all their call centre staff. And this work is really starting, this research is being done more and more, and I think we're going to see the link between like digital overwhelm, the purpose, the space to do what's important, and enabling an individual to do what they need, because one size fits all fits none.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited now to see companies taking this initiative, I think it's amazing. It's something so simple as well. Like,
and you make it sound simple and you make it sound universal. What if you sit in a global organization and you think you figured it out for a big country of yours, and then you want to roll it out to all your happy employees all over the world? Will it work equally well in all other countries, you think?
no.
No.
No, cultural nuance is king. Culture is strategy for breakfast. So that's why you need to do the NICER, to understand the needs, interests, concerns, expectations and risks of the various demographics and geographies. Because without that, one size fits all, fits none. But I know we're getting done for time, and I don't want to run over because I know you have other sessions to go to.
Ryan, that was absolutely fascinating. I love that shift from reactive to proactive, and actually really like looking at the causes of those stress, like meetings.
Yeah, which we're going to go back to on Friday, which I'm not looking forward to.
Brilliant. Well, wonderful to have you in the studio, Ryan. Really appreciate it. Giving us those nuggets of wisdom. And the energy in the studio has really spiked following that. Now,
cool.
I would like to invite Liz Sheldon from Pleo Technologies to speak with us as one of this year's esteemed silver sponsors. Welcome, Liz.
Thank you so much. So nice to be here in Copenhagen. It's Pleo home soil for us, so really nice to be here.
Fabulous. So why don't you start out by just telling us, what is Pleo?
Yeah, so in a nutshell, we're a company spending solution. So that means that anything and everything to do with company spend, we help budget, control, and more than anything, automate. So it means that, users can actually get a Pleo card, and I think that's the key difference here. When we talk about expense management, it's not typically an end-to-end solution. So by offering the Pleo card, it means that instantly you're not paying out of pocket. It means that everything's tracked in real time. It also means that finance leaders can see exactly what's going on, all the different line items, again, in real time. And then, of course, we push it through to the ERP or accounting system that you use. So everything from traditional on-the-go expenses, traveling to this conference, for example, through to mileage tracking, through to invoices and supplier payments. Everything under one roof is really where we play.
Sounds very appealing to me. So people coming to your stand, you talk about we're here in Copenhagen, and people are coming by. What's top of mind for people who are looking at your solutions?
I think naturally the types of businesses here are much more on the larger end, let's say, global, lots of different teams on the go and spending all at the same time. Yeah. So that theme around control and trust has been really paramount, actually. A lot of people talking about how you can really enable quicker decision making or enable kind of on the go travel and on the go spend while still maintaining control. And I think with that, with something like Pleo, as I said, because it's a card that everything's tracked in real time, the fact that you've got the transparency there does enable the trust, and therefore that's the control element there. So control's been a big topic. I think the other theme that we've been hearing a little bit more about, which is nice to hear that it's front of mind, is that environmental impact. So perhaps how can you potentially start to track your spend, track your travel, airline tickets, etc., while also equating that with what your footprint is on the environment. So that's a little bit more in the future, let's say, something that of course Pleo is passionate about and digging into, but that's more kind of on the radar, let's say, in the coming years.
So you're also picking people's brains for good ideas. Yeah, that's amazing.
Doesn't stop, yeah.
No. but in your view, if you were to roll out the solution, what kind of barriers do these organizations need in order to get the full value of automation here?
Yeah, and I think with expense management, that is a topic it's been around for years. We're by no means new in that space, but what is new is the way that our product is facilitating, that unique card for each employee. So even if there are controls and budgets in place, and of course all those parameters to ensure that we have that sense of control, I think it's still that change management piece which can take some time for business leaders to catch up to. But that said, it's really a topic that anyone and everyone, it doesn't matter your seniority, it doesn't matter globally where you're based, but it's a topic that everyone can really resonate with. It's a very emotive topic. It's a very painful process. So inevitably with that, I think when you're introducing a new solution, which we deem as pretty revolutionary, given that it is end-to-end, means that it can take a little bit of time for that kind of change management piece to come through, and introducing that to all different departments and getting everyone on board. I think with a solution like Pleo, you truly do need to have any and all managers on board with this, helping to really promote good behaviours, adhering to spend guidelines, everything like that. So it can take time with anything regarding kind of digital transformation.
Okay,
Brilliant.
got it.
Thank you very much, Liz. Really appreciate your time in the studio today.
A pleasure, yeah.
We are just about to go live on the plenary stage for this afternoon's sessions. Stay tuned.